Hello, welcome back to another video from Tech Talk with Balu. Today we're going to start a new series covering AWS, especially for those who are preparing for their Solutions Architect exam. We're going to deep dive into the security guard of the cloud, AWS IAM or Identity Access Management. So listen up, IAM is the foundation of everything you'll build. So let's get into it. First things first, IAM is global. Unlike EC2 or S3, it's not tied into a single region. So when you create a user, they exist everywhere in your account all at once. Now look at this red triangle. That's your root account. It has God mode access, unrestricted power. So golden rule number 1 is to secure it, lock it away, and never use it for daily tasks. It's for emergencies only. So think of IAM users as the actual people in your office. One person, one user, but don't manage them one by one. You want to user groups. So if Alice, Bob, and Charles are all devs, put them in a developers group. An exam tip you want to remember is this constraint. Very important. Groups can contain users, but groups cannot contain other groups. So no nesting allowed for groups. How do we actually give permissions then? We give permissions with policies. They are just JSON documents that act like a digital key. But don't be too generous. Remember, follow the principle of least privilege. If someone only needs to read files from an S3 instance, don't give them the keys to the whole data center. Give them exactly what they need, nothing more. So don't let the code scare you here. Every policy has 4 main parts. Number 1, version. The effect, whether it's an allow or a deny policy, the action, and what they can do. So for example, you can describe the instances they can access, so on and so forth. By the way, you can use asterisks or a wildcard rule, which means everything, or you can specify a particular bucket name as needed. So let's look at policy inheritance. Check this out. Alice is a member of the developers group. Because we attached an EC2 policy to the group, Alice inherits that permission. This makes your life easier as an architect to manage the group and the users that follow. So let's look at password policies now. Password policies provide a set of constraints that the user can use to actually set their password. This is your first line of defense. A strong password policy requires symbols, numbers, and forced rotation. But the real MVP is MFA, which stands for multi-factor authentication. We've all done and set it up for our bank accounts. It combines what you know, which is the password, with what you own, your phone, or a hardware key. If your password leaks, the attacker still can't get in without that physical device. That is multi-factor authentication. So for AWS, you have a set of different MFAs that you can use. You can run a virtual MFA device on your phone and use it with an application like Authenticator. You can use security keys or you can use actual hardware key fobs. Now let's get into some of the access methods that you would use to log into your AWS account. Humans use the console, but machines use CLI or SDK. CLI stands for Command Line Interface, and SDK stands for Software Development Kit. For this, you need access keys. Think of access key ID as your username and the secret access key as your password. And a pro tip here, never ever share these or commit them to GitHub. Next, let's look at what is delegation or the safety hat concept. This is huge for the exam. Roles are for services, not just people. If an EC2 server needs to talk to an S3 bucket, don't give it a password, give it an IAM role. The service assumes the role to get temporary permissions. It's secure, automated, and the gold standard for AWS architecture. Now let's go on to understanding how we can audit for compliance. How do you know if your security is working well? So there are 2 tools. Number 1, credentials report, which is an account level CSV that shows who has MFA enabled. There is also an access advisor, which is a user level view that shows when a service was last accessed. Very useful. If Jane, for example, hasn't used her EC2 permissions in 6 months, then just revoke them, so it's pretty handy as a central tool. So where are we? Let's recap the golden rules. Secure the root, 1 user per person, use groups for permissions, mandate MFA, and use roles for services. Stick to these, and you're well on your way to becoming a certified AWS architect. Thanks for watching Tech Talk with Balu. Hopefully this was a useful video. In the next AWS series, we'll be covering another AWS topic. See you in the next video. Thank you.